first of all, yes, I'm weirdly mostly lit from One Direction and the sound may not be as perfect as I'd like, but it is an ongoing process. There is a video either up shortly or already, which will be linked when it is up, to explain all of that, but I'm not going to reiterate that in this video. That's not what this is for. No, this is to talk about The Outer Worlds, developed by Obsidian and published by Private Division. And this had a lot of expectation on its shoulders, even from announcement. Because before Bethesda, some would say, dragged Fallout as a franchise into the mud and sullied it beyond repair, it of course belonged to a different company, and then of course things happened where companies suddenly go, oh, I have no money, and Bethesda got the rights. But part of the original team went on to form and be part of Obsidian. And they've made things here and there, but one of their big crowning achievements, I think everyone will agree on, is that they took Fallout 3's engine and made a much better Fallout game, namely Fallout New Vegas. And of course there's been Pillars of Eternity and various other projects that they've done, which have been great. And they have become known as someone who really respects the idea of a good, story-driven, also character-driven, and customizable RPG. You can kind of play it your way, but you've got to understand the systems to get the most out of it. It is very much based in the kind of D&D style in a way, of min-maxing and that kind of thing. And, you know, like I say, the announcement came for The Outer Worlds and everyone was like, oh, this is going to be like Fallout but better. Because people were seeing a weird sort of retro future thing with an RPG, an action RPG with shooting. It sounds like Fallout in another skin because they can't use that anymore. But I think that's doing it a disservice. If you're claiming that it's basically something it's not, then that's just wrong. Me saying that should make it apparent. Because The Outer Worlds is its own beast, and that's a good thing. Whilst the comparisons will always exist, I think we need to just shed those. We need to forget them. Because every moment I spent in Halcyon, I enjoyed. So the nutshell review before I really get into spoiler territory, because I always like to make sure that I'm not spoiling things for people. You know, if you've been living under a rock or you just haven't been able to afford it or something like that, but you want to know my ballpark idea of how I like it, then I will say it is an Obsidian RPG in space with all the weirdness and the humour, but also the heart that you've come to expect from good writing. Whilst the story isn't amazing, it's serviceable. And it serves, you know, the gameplay and the story do work together. So, yeah, I'm basically saying go out and get it if you haven't and you've got the spare funds, obviously. But obviously, if you want to get into spoiler territory, that's where we're going now, so this is your warning. I don't think I need to say it 50,000 times. If you've got the idea now that spoiler warnings are a thing and the spoiler is coming, this has been enough time for you to go off this video and come back when you've played it. So early on, you do meet the wonderful Parvati Holcomb, voiced by Ashley Birch, who is amazing. I've come through a lot of things where she's been in, obviously the Borderlands series being one, but I've loved her turns as well in Critical Role, when she's guested on that, and even like the one-shots and things like that. The Call of Cthulhu one was great. So this is someone I've got a great respect for, and I don't know if that informed how much I bonded with Parvati, or it's just Parvati is just the best written companion. Max is okay. Felix was, I forgot he even existed. Ellie was really interesting. Nyoka being the other one that you've got to meet alongside Parvati was, again, just middle of the road. I didn't really bond with her that well. And Sam was a blast, because the whole quest to get him takes you across the whole of Halcyon. This is the great thing about the companions. They all have some kind of quest which will send you all around, and you can go and explore and find out all these different things. You can go off the beaten path, and it allows you to do that. You may get, you know, your rear end handed to you by Mantiqueen, but you can go and explore if that's what you wish to do. And I love it for that. But like I say, Parvati was my big bond. I really had a soft spot for her, and I will say, they did queer well. This is a gay woman who, well, as far as we know, I don't think there's any mention of a man in her life, but I might be misremembering. If there is, then okay, she might be bisexual. Either way, she's on the queer side of things, and that's great. But it isn't like oh look, we've got a queer character. It's just, oh, I've got a thing for Junlei. Do you reckon you can help me get with her? And that whole quest line is fun and weird, and it's not a change the world and save the world kind of story. It's literally helping someone get the confidence to ask someone out and help them get a date. And I love that. I love that to my core. And I think because that was a very personal thing, it's a very personal quest, and also, I live on the queer side of the world as well, so maybe that touched a nerve on my side of things. But I found her the most comfortable companion. And like I say, yeah, the voice work will obviously help that out. I mean, Max was great. He started as this very cantankerous, hating the world and thinking that, everything's all about this plan that OSI believe in. But he becomes a lot more chill. He just zens out when you do his, and I made sure I did all of the companion quests, because I think they're there to help you bond to these people. And the fact that I still came out of it with a couple of characters not really doing much for me, I think says just they didn't get me. And I don't know if anyone else, please do let me know in the comments. I know everyone says that in every video, but please do let me know in the comments if you bonded more with a particular companion above the others. But my go-to was normally Ellie and Parvati, the no-nonsense doctor and the love-struck engineer. But that does lead me to sort of the conclusion part of the video, I guess. And unfortunately that does come with a negative. Now, I've heard of people having texture pop-ins and, apparently hitching frame rates and things like that. I haven't got an amazing rig. I've got a 4790K, whatever it is, fairly old. It's a few years old chipset. The one that could superheat. The fact I can get it to 50 under load is a miracle. And I recently splurged on an RTX 2060, I think, or 2070. It's definitely one of those two, before the Supers came out, and I felt really annoyed. But, it's not an amazing rig. The graphics card's probably the best thing, but I'm kind of at point break, if you will, on my power consumption. But I had no issues, and I'm running it at 1080. I don't believe in 4K and everything like that. I haven't got a monitor that will do it. My monitor does 1080. My previous monitor only did 720, so everything ran like butter. But I never had texture issues or anything like that. The only bug I had was apparently a fairly common one, where even though you've spent time with Parvati and you've even done her quest, her end card is she didn't survive the journey with you. And I wasn't playing on, oh, companions can die mode. I was playing on the, no, they're fine, just they'll get up on their own and it's all gravy. So this really hurt me. I was enjoying, I was slightly in tears, I was loving these end cards, which again is very indicative of the heritage of Obsidian. The old Fallouts did it, and Fallout New Vegas did it, the end cards that sort of tell you what changes you've made to the world. And there are some changes that are amazingly surprising. You're just, oh, wait, me doing that did this? And it's great that, but it hurt me. I felt awful because I'd spent that much time building this bond with all of my companions, but particularly Parvati, just to be told that she died. I'm like, no, she was there at the end. She wasn't in the room where they all do, there's the sort of end thing where they all kind of voice their opinions and say, well, we'll go with you to hell and back kind of thing. And she wasn't there, which my brain was like, what? And I looked around the ship and she wasn't there, but she was with me. She was selectable. She was with me in the final end game mission. And to have that ripped away because of a bug was quite galling. But the fact that I'm still praising the game, even despite that, I think says everything. It is testament to how good this game is and how much I really enjoyed it. I didn't do every side quest. If I got a bit stuck, I was like, well, I'll go and do this. And like I said, I did all the companion quests, but I didn't want to hit the level cap too early. I think I ended near it. I think it might have been 28, 29 rather than the 30 that it's capped at. But if you go through just the bare bones of the game, you will end up sort of around early 20s, maybe 23, 24. So I still did quite a chunk, but I'm glad I didn't sort of make myself too overpowered at the end. And the sort of rare weapons were interesting, but they weren't super frequent and they weren't super amazing. I tended to get a couple of decent guns sort of midway through that I just tinkered with and added mods to, same with armor. So that's another area that it perhaps doesn't have a lot of diversity and a lot of potential for... I mean, it probably does have potential, and I just didn't play it right by some people's estimations. But the fact that I can do that, just kind of go, oh, here's a few good guns that I'll just keep around. And like I say, they did me for quite a while. I think says, that it was maybe lacking, but Obsidian's always been about story and giving us a world that we can live in. And this was a world that I really, really enjoyed living in. I would happily spend time in this place again. I'm not going to do another playthrough straight away, I don't think. But at some point down the line, if I'm feeling nostalgic, I don't think I'd worry about popping this in. This could be another fun venture for me. And that's testament of a good game. There are a few games that I have in my library that do that. Even Fallout 4, I keep kind of thinking, I could go back and 100% it, but I get partway through and I just don't. It loses its appeal. So yeah, Obsidian did well, and it wasn't Fallout in space, and that's good. It was its own thing, and that's what it should have been. Quirky, heartfelt. What else can you ask for? So that's my take on the Outer Worlds. I've obviously got... next month we're ending Angel, so we're ending the whole Buffy and Angel thing, and I've got a couple of interesting videos. One that makes a lot more sense as a sort of Christmassy film, and one that you might be scratching your head at. But we'll leave it there for now. So until next time, as always, thank you for watching, and take care.